2020 holiday season is upon us, and now as much as ever we could all use a little Christmas fever. While streets and yards are adorned with holiday decorations, the stores and malls are a little less crowded than normal, but the internet is packed with shoppers. Indeed, many of us have already assembled our Christmas trees, lit our gas fireplaces, and started reminiscing about our Christmas past. We at Cary Players are no different. We hope you will enjoy our memories of the joyous times we have had sharing one of our favorite shows with Cary and our surrounding communities whenever we can.
If you've ever attended a performance at the Cary Art Center, you know that it's an impressive facility with a beautiful proscenium stage, great lighting, great sound, nice comfy chairs. None of those things existed in 2004. That was the year that Cary Players collaborated with the Applause Youth Theater to stage our first production of A Christmas Story. We turned to directors Nan Stevenson and Sue Scarborough to bring the production to life, and they decided to come up with something innovative. It took theater in the round to a whole new level. They put the audience on the stage area, and then they put the actors out in the house. We even had audience members sitting in the Parker family kitchen. I got to play Mom that year, Mrs. Parker, Ralphie's mom. I had a great time. It was a wonderful experience. It was a little bit challenging sometimes, though, when you were doing things like trying to hide a broken leg lamp when you had audience members sitting only a few inches away from you. Some of my fondest memories were listening to LeGrand tell the kids to wear their coats and mittens and not come on stage with their coats flying open. It was an Indiana winter. Alex Marshall did the lighting design, and he had a challenge with the stage set from one end of the audience all the way to the other. It was the first of many wonderful productions, and it was a little rough around the edges that first year in that old media center, but something magical happened. The actors brought the show to life, and we knew when Matt Shedler stepped on stage with his opening lines, "'Tis the holiday season and Christmas fever is upon us," we had something special and magical. I'm always going to cherish those memories, and I can't wait to be able to bring them back to you again in person.
Hi there, Stacy Ingham here. I got to play the mom in A Christmas Story in the Cary Players 2005 production. And the first thing that comes to mind when I think about that production is that I was just so excited to have the opportunity to play mom in one of my favorite Christmas stories. The mother of two boys myself, this particular play hits close to home for me. I just love that the story shows how powerful a mom's presence is in every boy's life, and it was an honor to portray that on stage. I also remember that for that particular year, in addition to pre-holiday prep and family stuff and activities, my family was in the middle of moving from one house to another. And so while at times it was a little overwhelming, the rehearsal schedule and the performance schedule for Christmas Story it allowed for a welcome escape, and it made that Christmas very special. The cast and crew were just so much fun to be with and made it easy to make the time. And Deborah, she did a great job of creating an atmosphere that really balanced, fun and hard work, so we could form friendships and have fun. And I think that was really reflected in the onstage production. I sure do miss these guys. I still run into a few of them every once in a while here and there. And of course online. Wishing the best to everyone. Merry Christmas.
Just a couple of weeks before our 2006 production, the Cary Players family experienced a difficult and heartbreaking event. Wilson Peach, who was returning to the show in the role of the old man, unexpectedly and suddenly collapsed and passed away. Wilson had appeared in every Cary Players production since its formation 5 years before that sad event. At the time, he was a current member of the board of directors, and above all, a very dear friend. We created the Peach Award, which we now give out annually to remember and honor Wilson's spirit and love of theater. This is Chris McKittrick. One early evening in November of 2006, I got a phone call from one of the members of the Cary Players board, Bob Grannon. It was a call I won't ever forget. Bob's emotions were overflowing as he told me about the tragic passing of Wilson. The conversation we had brings tears to my eyes even to this very day. Bob told me that Wilson's family wanted the show to go on and asked if Cary Players could find the person who played the old man in 2005 to step in. That would be me. On behalf of the family and the board, Bob asked me if I would be willing to give it a go despite the short time left before opening night. As you can imagine, there was only one answer I could give through the tears. Yes. Thanks to the leadership of Dan Marchenko, the cast and crew rallied around the cause of honoring Wilson by making sure the show would go on. There are so many memories of that year's show that it's hard for me to pick out just a couple highlights. One high spot is that Mrs. Parker was to be played by my long-term friend, Deborah Grannon. It sure made it easier to have her support and guidance. Deborah and I even had our first fight over the breaking of the old man's precious major award. The second memory is what happened on the first full cast meeting after Wilson's passing. A little 7-year-old girl who was playing a bumpus hound in the show came over to me and handed me a crumpled piece of paper and ran away. I thought it was just some trash and she was playing a game with me. Fortunately, I opened up that crumpled piece of paper to read the note you see here. Yep, she managed to turn a 6'3" old man into an emotional puddle when I read it. I was just hoping that she meant GREAT instead of that I would grate on everyone's nerves. We did pull together and focused on being ready for opening night. And at our dress rehearsal, Sarah Bunch Preston and Rachel Green surprised the cast and crew with a gift that helped our Christmas spirit soar.
The Night Before a Christmas Story. 'Twas the night before a Christmas story when all through the school not an actor was stirring, not even a fool. The lights were all cabled and safety clamped with care in hopes that an audience soon would be there. The production staff was nestled all snug in their beds while visions of ticket sales danced in their heads. Mother's robe on her hook and Randy's boots below had been put up by Miranda until the start of the show. Down in the dressing room, Jim feared he'd heard clatter, so Sam drove from Holly Springs to see what was the matter. Into the building Sam flew like a flash, and into the media center he worriedly dashed. The lights were all shining on the fresh painted stage, giving life to the props Carol found without rage. Out from the curtains, before Sam's eyes did bound, a papier-mâché turkey held by 5 tiny bumpus hounds. Led by jolly old Tim, so lively and quick, Sam knew in a moment this must be a trick. More rapid than eagles, Sam had Jim on the phone, and Sam said to the bump-eye, "It's bedtime, go home. Now Lydia, Emma, Serenity, Janae, now Bridget, Marissa, and Tim, don't delay. Back to the dressing room, back down the hall. You must get your rest before tomorrow's call." Jim agreed it was time to prepare for the show, which is gonna be awesome, as everyone knows. The mamas, they came to collect their bump-eye, and Tim to his home away he did fly. No one could sleep back at their homes. The classmates were calling each other on their cell phones. Alec and Abby were practicing their lines. Steve polished his boots so that they would shine. Angela, in her witch hat, practiced her cackle. Scott Farkas thought about who he would tackle. Flick was in his kitchen, icing his sore arm, while Esther Jane practiced her feminine charm. How exciting! Tomorrow we open the show. Everyone will be ready and all set to go. Ralphie in his bunny suit and Matt in his sweater have gotten to know one another much better. Dreaming of fishnets and black high-heeled pumps, old man Chris McKittrick wasn't down in the dumps. Thanks to Kenny for delivering that prize, even if Mother sees it and cries. There are a few characters we must indeed now mention, for they give this play a whole new dimension. Sweet Mrs. Claus, with a smile on her face, with her sidekick the elf, greets the kids with such grace. Don't forget Mr. Goldblatt, so patient and dear. Decorations and music greet his shoppers with cheer. Now we approach the end of our story. Break a leg tomorrow. May you open in glory. Get a peaceful night's sleep. To dreamland you'll go. We love you all and wish you a fantastic show. The end.
Over the years, I've taken on several different roles with A Christmas Story. I have directed it. I've produced it. I played Red Ryder. I have played Adult Ralph. But in 2007, I took on the challenging role of playing the Old Man. And I had seen Wilson play it, and I'd seen Chris McKittrick play it. And now it was my turn, and I wasn't really sure I could pull it off. There was a lot going on at that time. I was trying to keep Cary Players going behind the scenes, and then trying to play a very difficult role on stage at the same time. It is a tough role to play. The Old Man has at least 50 props he has to keep track of, and he makes many entrances and exits that are kind of similar in nature. He says some of the same lines as he enters the stage in multiple cases, and it can get a little confusing. And if you're not careful, I used to keep a little notepad on the just off stage to remind me which scene I was actually doing at the time, so I wouldn't get lost. But I really wasn't sure I could pull it off. And then, the Old Man was very different from who I am naturally. I'm sure I can get grumpy at times, but I'm not the kind of guy who says a lot of any swear words, really. I don't get angry a whole lot. My kids really had never seen me lose my cool. And so one night, when the show was in its run, my little 5-year-old daughter came to see the show, and she was sitting out in the audience on her mom's lap and watching me on stage. And we got to the scene where the Old Man is chasing the Bumpus Hounds around toward the end of the show. And at the culmination of that scene, he gets very angry with the Bumpus Hounds, and he's chasing them out the door, and he's throwing the rolls and the food after them. And I was throwing rolls out into the audience, and I was yelling at the top of my lungs about those wang-doodling bumpuses, and I was getting into it. I didn't realize it until after the show that during that scene, my little 5-year-old daughter had started crying because she'd never seen her father get that angry before, and it scared her. And in a way, I felt really sorry for her. I felt really bad that I had put her through that. But secretly, in another way, I was like, wow, if I can fool her, maybe I could pull this role off after all.
'Tis the holiday season, and Christmas fever is upon us. That was the first line I ever had every year for A Christmas Story, 2004, 5, 6, 7, and 12. I got to be Adult Ralph for all those years and be part of all those amazing casts and crews. We had such a great time. 2004, to start off with, having Deborah Grannon and Wilson Peach as my mom and the Old Man was just tremendous fun. Playing with them, having your friends there, as they were working to put together a fledgling theater company, and they built it into something really special. Just great to look back on those days, and to have Mick there as the young Ralphie, just just perfect, just so much fun. And Emma as my number one Bumpus Hound from that first year. She would come back and see the show in later years, and always had tremendous fun. All those Bumpus Hounds were always so cute, chasing after the turkey, having so much fun running around, all the kids. And then, to have all the directors, Sue and Nan from that first year, Deborah, Jim, Deborah again, Dan Marchenko helping to bring it back in 2012 when we finally got into the new space there in Cary, and the set designs and things that got put together. I mean, that first year we were in a old converted library space. I was walking on top of old built-in bookshelves, and we were making the audience turn left and right and here and there just to find the playing space and to see what was going on. But it worked, and it was so much fun. So thanks so much to, all my moms and dads, Stacy and Chris, Wilson and Chris, who had to step in for Wilson in 2006 after he passed away. And we missed him so much, but Chris came in and did a great job. And Monica and Amber and Bill in 2012. So much fun as all the old men. Dan did a great old man as well. We just had so much fun. And then in 2012, when I got to come back and do it for the last time that I've done it so far, I hope someday, once again, we can get back and do it, and I'd love to do it. I'd do it until they barred me from the theater. It's such a great show. But in that 2012, that final show of that season, I got to bring my 5-year-old, well, not 5-year, 5-month-old son, Malcolm, onto stage with me for the curtain call. Man, that was a trip. That was crazy. So much fun. The love that I've received from being part of Cary Players and doing this show so many times has been tremendous. And I want to thank everybody who's been a part of it. I love you all. I miss you all. I hope you're all doing well. And regardless of what time of year it is, I want you to know I wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Hi, this is Amber Davis, Cary Players 2012 mother. Bill LaFranchi and I had the incredible opportunity to participate in the show's inaugural run at the Cary Arts Center. The excitement was quite high that year, and I think 100 people showed up to audition. How I ended up with that role, I'm not sure I'll ever understand. But I'm so grateful to have worked alongside such an incredibly talented cast and crew. At the time, I was single and not, in fact, a mother. Here I am 8 years later and a proud mama to 2 boys. Looking back, I wonder if I would have done anything different now that I actually know what it's like to be in charge of 2 rambunctious boys. Would I have made any different decisions? But the 2 scenes that stick out in my mind the most are ones that didn't actually have the boys in them at all. But they were moments where I felt like this character is truly seen by the old man and by the audience. The infamous broken leg lamp scene. I remember every night as I pulled that lamp out that Dan, our director, had reminded me that I had a choice to make. Was this an accident or was it on purpose? In my version, well, it was on purpose. And the fight that followed between Mother and the old man was something I had to brace myself for every night. Because Bill and I, well, we kind of let each other have it. For me, that moment was about every dinner or load of laundry, every shopping list, every task that was never acknowledged. That was kind of a boiling point for Mother. It was challenging and it was emotionally draining, but it was also one of my very favorite moments in the show because it felt like a moment where the mother was actually seen by her husband. My other favorite moment was the very last scene of the show. All the Christmas gifts have been opened and the boys have gone out to play with the Red Ryder, and Mother and the old man are left alone sitting on the couch. Bill, well, he was always drenched in sweat, truth be told. But I felt genuine joy and gratitude in that moment. And peace, actually, a moment of peace when he kissed me on my head and the lights dimmed.
Getting cast in Cary Players: A Christmas Story in 2013 was a really exciting experience for me. I always loved working with Cary Players because everyone is always so welcoming and supportive, and I normally prefer to do musicals, but I decided to step out of my comfort zone and audition for ACS. Imagine my surprise when I found out I would be playing Mother. Oh my goodness, I had such a fun time doing this show. We had such a great cast, and I was really impressed by all the kids and would watch their scenes from off stage whenever I was able. The scenes I most loved doing were the dreamlike sequences. It was always so hard not to laugh while doing them because they were just so ridiculous, especially the one where I had to dress up as a flying monkey. And that set, oh my goodness, it was incredible. It will always bring a smile to my face when I think about my time in A Christmas Story and all the wonderful people I met while doing that show.
Hi, this is Shelley Sink, and I played the mother, aka Mrs. Parker, in the 2017 production of A Christmas Story. Some of my favorite memories from that show include Randy playing with his oatmeal, getting to work with that awesome car that was part of the amazing set that we had that really brought the show to life. I met some wonderful new friends in the cast and the crew and really enjoyed going to all the rehearsals and working with the children especially. And it was my first Cary Players show and the first community theater show I had done in many, many years. So it was wonderful to be welcomed and feel a part of something magical during the Christmas season. One other favorite memory that I have is on the last show that we did before Deborah Grannon went out to do her curtain speech. She and I were dancing around backstage to some of the Christmas tunes that were playing for the audience as they were coming in, and I just remember some of the children looking at us like, look at those old ladies dancing. And it will just always be a fun Christmas memory that we were just really into the Christmas spirit and dancing around, and hopefully it in the end gave the children lots of extra energy for our last show. Thank you for being a part of the Cary Players community, and we hope to see you in the theater soon. Merry Christmas.
Are you one of the people who attended all 7 performances of A Christmas Story? I can proudly say I am one of those patrons. I am Bob Grannon, and as a matter of fact, I've designed the set, assisted in building, performed in a supporting role, or led the construction for all 7 sets. A staple with Cary Players, A Christmas Story has been performed in front of more patrons than any other show. Each year, the challenge to the team was to build the best set ever. In 2004, the first year for A Christmas Story, I assisted the very creative Jim Martz in creating a set in the media center of the former Cary Elementary School and First Public High School in North Carolina before that. Bob Strobridge introduced the first rolling car to the set, emerging from a garage under Ralphie's bedroom. Designing the set is the first challenge. Several minds combine ideas to make the set a warm, home in Indiana family space, period appropriate, and with several nuances to pique the audience interest. The old man's car, the infamous flagpole in the schoolyard, Red Ryder's campfire scene, and the Indiana swamp, to name a few. Each director had a vision and wanted to give special attention to places of interest outside the home, such as Goldblatt's department store, Santa Land, the Christmas tree sales lot, or the Warren G. Harding Elementary School playground and classroom. Thanks to the creative input of the directors and many volunteers over the years, no 2 sets were the same. How do you accommodate a young boy scaling a 6-foot fence, or safely let small children slide down the Goldblatt's Santa Land slide? It was a personal challenge to prompt the audience to take note of what was different each year from previous sets. Patrons are devoted fans of A Christmas Story and would be satisfied with nothing less. In the most recent performance in 2017, thanks to the creative genius and talents of Ian Robson, the set was, in my view, the best ever. We created a totally new layout for the home, including vintage appliances and snow on the roofline. In addition, the family's 1937 Oldsmobile, refurbished by Ian, rolled on stage to the awe of an appreciative audience. A tremendous number of craftsmen and craftswomen volunteers played crucial roles in making the sets for A Christmas Story such wonderful works of art, in addition to being fun experiences to create. The satisfaction of an audience and cast drives the desire to continue the tradition. Who knows what lies ahead in store for future sets of A Christmas Story? Stay tuned and watch the Cary Players website as we look forward to the next production of A Christmas Story. A new cast is assured, as well as never before seen sets. Be safe. We miss our audience and eagerly look forward to seeing you soon.
This Christmas, instead of a live performance, we are glad you have seen and heard many of the people involved with Cary Players who have made A Christmas Story one of our all-time favorite shows. For us, it always has been, and always will be, a labor of love. It is our Christmas gift to all of you, our friends and our patrons. And in the end, the friends we have made over our years of producing and performing A Christmas Story will forever be part of the Cary Players family. We look forward to expanding that family once again in the very near future. Indeed, 2020 has impacted us all more than a scut Farkas arm twisting. Events beyond our control might have kicked us down the slide this year, but like Ralphie, we shall persevere in our never-ending quest for our very own legendary official Red Ryder carbine action 200-shot range model air rifle with a compass and this thing which tells time built right into the stock. On behalf of the entire Cary Players Board of Directors and all the people who have been part of A Christmas Story over the years, thanks for joining us for this trip back to another time, another place. You can betcha, we'll be back. And as a certain department store Santa has been heard to say, ho, 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 Merry Christmas!